let me be honest with you. Nigerians are suffering because of the problem we're having in the Southeast. The Southeast can produce everything you buy in China. We can make them in Abande, we are not in China. Everything you buy from China. Just give us electricity, give us the way that with it, and give us the direction. We produce everything that you produce in China. The technologies are there, everything, we have it, but we need a better atmosphere. We need to clean away properly in agreement the sit at home, which has cost hundreds of billions of naira out of the Southeast. We need to bring back the I can do it spirit. We need to sing back aging by aging. We need to go back to what we know how to do. When I was governor, a lot of things were being manufactured in Aba. People have begged Aba people to stop putting made in Paris, made in Spain, made in Brazil. They should start putting made in Aba. We can supply every equipment this country needs from that region of the country. I am not, President Tinubu himself knows this, because I can tell you twice he slept in Abia when we were governors, he slept in Ibere, and he saw it himself, and he respects that, I'm sure. Once we have good atmosphere, the president will come back to do the needful in our zone. And I'm praying that both the lawyers of Nnamdi Kanu and the courts, they should speed up and make sure that it's released according to law of Nigeria. Because I'm sure the president Tinubu will always live to respect the judiciary. People are calling him to intervene. Yes, he will intervene, but through the judiciary. The judiciary have to do their job, and President Tinubu will intervene. So I believe that as soon as possible and practicable, that Nnamdi Kanu will be released and the area will be very quiet.
Okay, my people. What do you guys think concerning this statement made by Senator Orji Uzor Kalu on Arise News this morning? So let me throw more light, So according to him, he said that the insecurity where there for Southeast don't affect the productivity, and also it don't make so many industries and factories close their business down because of the kind of insecurity in Southeast. So many industries don't even go to other states in order to thrive because of the kind of wahala where there for Southeast. So in also talk about how this whole issue can actually be solved by governments taking the step of releasing Mazi Nnamdi Kanu in order to make the eastern region of Nigeria to be calm, so that things can start working and development can and production can commence. So what do you guys think concerning this statement? Do you guys think that Orji Uzor Kalu is making sense, even though that many people are saying that Arise News shouldn't have granted him interview, that him being get many issues in the past, a bad record in the past, So what did you guys think concerning this statement? I would like to hear your opinion on the comment section below. So make sure you like this video so that YouTube will recommend it to others, and subscribe to our channel if you are new to this channel. So let's dive into the video.
Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. Thank you for staying with us. Well, the back and forth over President Bola Tinubu's proposals for a reform of Nigeria's tax administration is continuing. Stakeholders from different parts of the country are making their feelings abundantly known about it, depending on where they consider their bread adequately buttered on the one hand, and on the other, which aspects of the bills they fear might shortchange their overall interest in the immediate and long terms. We'll now get into our next conversation on the general state of the nation on that note with our next guest. I'm talking about Senator Orji Uzor Kalu, a former executive governor of Abia State and distinguished senator representing the Abia North District in the National Assembly. Good morning, and it's a pleasure to speak with you on the morning show today. We can see that you're clad in your Nigerian jersey. Thank you for being very patriotic this morning, but let's go straight into it, Senator. this back and forth has been happening about the tax reform bills, and we're very in a congratulatory mode when the governors, everybody agreed, to the terms, which were slightly changed, of course. I'd just like to know your thoughts. First off, on that plan, we see the change in, when it comes to productivity, derivation, and of course, what's the last one, if you can just help me? And population. What are your thoughts on the landmark, let's say, the agreement on the tax reforms, as it were?
Thank you. Thank you, Steve, and thank you, Shay. I want to thank you people for having me over this morning. And I believe that the governors have just done the needful by doing what I feel. They have done what was just, and I listened to them one after the other. I've always said from day one, this bill was presented in the National Assembly. I said the bill was progressive, but needed us to expand discussion, because we need to expand discussion with other people. Most of the laws we are using today in Nigeria, they are very obsolete. They are gone. They are not functional laws. They are not laws that we should continue using in the 21st century. And in a place that you want to remodel and reposition the economy, if we do not do what we are trying to do today, we'll be left behind. We started with countries like Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapore, and all the rest of them. Look at even Vietnam yesterday. So they've all left us. They've left us behind. And I believe that we should be sincere in what we are doing. I congratulate the governors, and I was more interested and more fulfilled when I had the governor of Nasarawa State the other day in a show in another sister channel that was praising the bill and saying that but there's nothing wrong with the bill. The problem was just Nigerians do not read, they do not listen, they do not focus on issue to know what is wrong. I must congratulate the author of the bill, that President Ahmed Tinubu, and also Professor Yedele and the chairman of FIRS, Mr. Azakios. So I believe that this bill is good for all Nigerians. It's not political, it's not sectional, it's not anything. It is for the good of every state of Nigeria and every Nigerian to enjoy this bill. I'm motivated about this bill as a private businessman who is in politics, and also as a Nigerian who needs this country economy to grow. So it might be difficult in the few things the government are doing now, but in the long run, we are going to see a better Nigeria. I was with President Thabo Mbeki in 2003 to witness a swearing-in of President Lula da Silva. I was there with him, and I saw what happened. Brazil was in turmoil then, but today they are rolling. After some few years that he was president and put in jail, and he was recalled back again to be president. So this is what democracy is all about. We need to go the tough area, and we come back to enjoy the tough area. It's just that most Nigerians on the street of Nigeria were over-pampered. We don't want to work. There are a lot of work on the street of Nigeria. And people only want to come and live in Lagos, Abuja, Port Harcourt, or Aba, or Kaduna. They don't want to go to farm. Nobody wants to do what is visible. Nobody wants to think about tomorrow. So I congratulate the governors honestly for what they have done.
All right, distinguished senator, thank you so very much for setting the tone. And like Sheitan observed, I also like the fact that you're donning the Nigerian jersey. I hope that this is not an endorsement of the fact that we continue to take a foreign coach every time that we need a coach. People who are expecting at least, let's use homegrown brains and talents to run our thing. But your comment on that can come later. Let me stick with the issue of the day, and which for now will be on the tax, reforms, the reform bills that you have, enthusiastically endorsed. But I'm interested in knowing what your specific thoughts are regarding the area of the VAT sharing that the governors, that's one of the key highlights of the proposition of the Nigerian Governors Forum. As you are aware, sir, the current sharing formula of the VAT as at today is 20% for derivation, 50% on equality, and 30% based on population. What the bill is proposing, which of course will be what the president wants and what the committee that is set up, also wants, is to move up to 60% the question of derivation, so that those who are making the money for government can get something commensurate from what they are putting in the general purse. And then they propose 20% each for equality and population. What the governors have now done is to say, no, you can't do that. Give 30% to derivation, 50% to equality, which means half of what is collected by way of VAT should be shared equally among the 36 states, and then 20% based on population. Are you satisfied with this type of thinking? Are you satisfied, sir, given the fact that these bills will, are still with the National Assembly and you will have the last say on it? Is this your idea of fair, balance, and rewarding productivity, the way that the governors have presented at least the sharing formula for the VAT?
Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Steve. I also believe that the people in the National Assembly have the last say. But let me be honest with you, the governors have already set the tone rolling, and there's no two ways about doubting what the governors have done. If you can rewind one of the interviews I had with either Ruben Akpati or somebody in this channel, I can't remember who now, I was looking at the way the governors were thinking that equality should be 50% and derivation should be 30%, and the population can come to 20%. These laws are, once we make the law, it's not sacrosanct. This VAT sharing is a very little thing in what is inside the bill. The bill is more beneficiary to Nigerian people than the sharing formula. So I think the governors have just gotten it slightly right, but I cannot say, in my opinion, yes, I think it's a starting point for discussion. And both the National Assembly, both houses of national, the Senate and the House of Representatives will start looking at it at that level. I think the president should also know that why I was saying before, in the past few months, I've always been saying the bill looks good, it's progressive, but we need wider discussion. These are part of the wider discussion. And I will expect the governors to go further down to discuss with the people on the street, people in all departments of their state. So this is politics, because you see, this is not the law itself, but sharing formula is politics, and the politics will come behind it. And this is what the governors have done. I want to congratulate the Nigerian governors. They have really shown leadership in this regard, because they have shown also that the discussion can pay. We have been saying it. If initially, when President Tinubu wanted to get this bill into National Assembly, enough consultation were made. President Tinubu means well, and his advisors, like the Professor Yedile and Mr. Zak, they all also means well, but they needed to do a wider consultation. And the Senate President was very special in this bill by sending it quickly to public hearing. And the public hearing is the only way we can get the feelings of the people. I never supported anybody withdrawing the bill. I never supported anybody putting away the bill, because the bill is progressive. We cannot leave Nigeria the way it is. Nigeria have to change if we really want to move forward. If we want to see this country move, people are hungry, and people need to come out of hunger. And people will appreciate this bill in the next few weeks, because this bill, apart from the appropriation bill before us, this bill should be put on the driver's seat immediately, so that Nigerians can have benefit of what we are talking about. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, so let's touch on this. Still looking at the tax reforms, particularly the revenue sharing formula. Some would say it places a greater emphasis on, the state's ability to generate and to retain revenue based on consumption. How do you see this affecting productivity across the states? And, the healthy competition, do you think it will give us a state of healthy competition among the states, or will it exacerbate regional disparities? Some would say that many states, particularly in the north, are heavily reliant on federal allocations. How can they leverage this reform as an opportunity to diversify their economies and develop robust internally generated revenue streams, as it were?
Thank you, Sheikh. These reforms will bring competition. When people see a country like China with people accuse them of bad human rights record, people accuse them of not respecting the law, people are accusing them one-party system. When you see a country like China, for the past 35 to 40 years, China has been growing on 10% income every year. And if you look at it, it's because there is competition. All the provinces in China are competing against each other. The federal government can have a reserve fund to put to any state that is not meeting up its obligations. This is possible, but let me be honest with you. When people say that the First Republic, that they did wonders, I agree they did wonders. But because there was competition, the northern region, the eastern region, the Midwest region, the western region, they were competing among each other. If we don't bring back that competition, we cannot grow. We will be wasting our time. There is no state out of the 36 states that is not viable. All the states are viable. It's just meant for our leaders, our governors, our sub-leaders to go back to the states and sit in the state and put their thinking boxes. They think out what they will do with their area and do long-time planning. And every state is viable. I don't agree with you. If you go to something like Zamfara is one of the richest states. You go to Sokoto is one of the richest states. You go to Kebbi, the amount of lithium in Kebbi is unbelievable. I deal with international organization, and I have the spread, and I have the survey of almost everywhere in Nigeria. There's no country in Nigeria that is not viably very, very, very viable. So I don't believe in this. People should stop putting the northern Nigeria down to say it will affect them. They have a lot of solid minerals that are untouched. It's just to go out and look for investors. Once we're able to get investors and get people to track on them. But this is also why I said all this program will be spaced out so that it will not be choked up by the process. But President Tinubu gets out a good idea to reform the tax law, the answer is positive. So I don't think anybody, it's only going to put competition and make us to go and work hard. Governors and people in government should stop buying luxurious cars every year. They should put money investment. When we're able to invest heavily, people can go back to where they are. So I believe that the law will do well to everybody. And President Tinubu has done the very best he can do by bringing this law at this time. People are afraid of bringing this law, and I don't see anything being afraid in doing this job. So the job has to be done. I will vote for this bill, and I will support the bill, but I will also discuss with our colleagues and agree on where that is not fair to others, and we will fix it. But the bill, even if it's passed to a law, there will be continuous amendments when it's not doing well or where it's doing well. That is why you have the National Assembly. We are not just going to leave the laws to be stagnant again for over 100 years. We have laws that made here by the colonial masters are not touched. So we must be modern people and be touching the laws as quick as possible. So I believe that this is what we should do as a country.
All right, Senator, let's speak about your core constituency now, which is National Assembly, Senate in particular, and of course, lawmaking. You just mentioned something.
Please say it again, Steve. Steve, come up again. Let me hear you well.
I said we should speak now about your core constituency, which is the National Assembly, Senate in particular, and of course, lawmaking. You are a lawmaker now. You're no longer a governor. Can you hear me, distinguished senator?
I'm hearing you.
Okay, so my point is, let's talk about that aspect of your political life, and of course, the life of the impact of the National Assembly in Nigeria of today. Two things. First will be the, I won't call it insinuation, but the perception of people that this 10th Assembly appears to be a rubber stamp to everything coming from Aso Rock, everything executive, that we do not see enough interrogation of what the executive is bringing, particularly when it concerns the president. And Nigerians expect that there are three arms of government. Of course, you know that our own media is the fourth realm of the estate. But of course, they expect that lawmakers will stand alone, the same way that the judiciary is standing alone. But the body language of the Senate president and majority of the people in the Senate and the National Assembly in general appears to suggest that they are constantly kowtowing to the president. What are your thoughts on this? And then the second part will be the lawmaking aspect, especially as it concerns budget. Many Nigerians are dissatisfied with the contents of the appropriation bill that comes out of the National Assembly. We have seen a few things here and there of how lawmakers are trying to engage. But then on the general feel of it, we're proposing 47.9 trillion for this year, but the 2024 budget is still running and will run till June of next year. We do not even know how the 2023 budget performed. Now the Assembly is talking about 100 trillion by 2026. What are your thoughts? This is you saying that instead of buying vehicles, etc., use money to better the lives of Nigerians. But how are you, sir, engaging with the problematic content of practically all the agencies and ministries of government when it comes to allocation of funds to projects that they are bringing to the National Assembly, for approval? What are your thoughts on all this, sir?
Well, first of all, Steve, let me be honest to you. We are not stooge to anybody. We are not sitting on anybody's way. We are very independent, and we have shown it many a times. We cannot come out to start fighting the executive, and every now and then there'll be a problem in there. We have a back door of disagreement and agreement. So the president himself have done a lot of consultation among the senators, sometimes among the leadership of the National Assembly, and we are not some, what do you call it, rubber stamp. I'm not sure I'm one. Steve, you know me very well from when I was governor. You know me very well, so I'm not somebody anybody can tell you about. I always disagree when it's for Nigerian people to benefit. I always say, no, this is not good. Whether it's a president or not president. President Tinubu also knows that I tell him nothing but the truth, and I tell him the way I feel. Anytime I see him, I tell him there's hunger in the land, we need to fight for it. He says, yes, I know. I know there's hunger. We are fighting to reverse it. So this is the issue. I'm not sure the National Assembly were a rubber stamp as the people are looking at it. The issue is that we have a problem in the country. We are trying to give the executive every help they can get from us in terms of lawmaking to make sure that we speed up the process of people getting better day or better life to live, so that people can feel the government. So if disagreement, we have not done anything. We have not. If I tell you so many things we have disagreed with President Tinubu, you'll be shocked. It's just that we don't want to make your constituency to be happy to see the executive and the legislature fighting. We have disagreed on many occasions, and we kept it. This is where you always see the Senate and the House of Representatives calling for a closed session. We drive away your people, we discuss the issue, we say, take back this to the president, or let's go ahead and do it. There are many times Senate presidents have done that. There's many times the Speaker of House of Representatives have done that. But we cannot continue letting you people to make Senate and the House of Representatives to be a laughing stock, where every time we are fighting the executive. We are not in the fighting mood. We are in the repairing mood. We want to repair things so that Nigerian people can have the benefit of democracy. This is why, on that note, we cannot come out. I don't even listen to people. Ask your colleagues that have interviewed me many times. I say the way it is, because I am not looking at anybody's face. And the Senate president have done his best by putting his colleagues together to be able to make sure that we come out of hunger. In terms of us, we are not going to implement these laws. Our duty is to just make these laws. Executive and their team will find a way to implement it. If you have given us the seat of implementation, we will implement. Our duty is to approve what we feel that is right for Nigerian people, what we feel is right for the executive and the judiciary, and leave it for them to go and implement. It's not for us to implement. That is why Nigerian people should stop blaming us. And this is why you see I hardly talk about my constituency, which is the legislature aspect of the government. Because when I was in the executive, I never knew that the legislature is as deep as you think. You are telling me about making a budget. Let me be honest with you. For the last 1 week, I came back from Christmas holiday. I've stayed in National Assembly from 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. every day. And people still think we're doing nothing. I mean, it's not fair. We sat and you can see all disagreements. We are not a rubber stamp, for God's sake. We can see all disagreement between the executive and the legislature. You people just showed what happened between the Inspector General of Police and some members of the National Assembly. That should show you there's nobody being stampeded by anybody, because they ask questions, they disagree, and we agree. Disagreeing with the Inspector General of Police do not mean that what the Inspector General of Police was saying is not right. But he further came out. I respect the Inspector General of Police. So further went back to his office to address a little press conference to clarify issues. So you can see we always disagree, Steve and Shane. We always disagree, but we don't come out to fight. I don't, especially in the upper house. We are elderly people, and some of us have been governors, some of us have been ministers, some of us have been this and that. We don't usually come out to disagree the way that will make your constituency, which is the press, very happy. No, we disagree to agree, and we agree to disagree. We always have our mode of the way we disagree with them.
Thank you so much, Senator. And someone who has served in both executive and legislative capacities, you are speaking from a place of knowledge. But let's talk about the Southeast that has long been recognized for its industrial and entrepreneurial capabilities. Yet we see the region still facing significant challenges in achieving its full economic potential. What specific steps should the federal government take to support the development of the Southeastern Economic Corridor, including improved transportation networks, access to capital for businesses, and integration with national and regional trade frameworks, as we start to wrap up?
Well, for me, I think President Tinubu is coming there. I mean, Rome was not built in a day. We are just battling with the insurgents in our area, and gradually we are coming up. And as we are coming up, we will now start thinking on the next step. Once we calm down the insurgents of banditry and unknown gunmen and all the rest of them, we will be able, the president and his team and all of us will advise him to open the chapter 2 of the book. And the chapter 2 will be development. Once you have no insurgents, you have no unknown gunmen, and you don't have any disturbances about our people, and we will talk page 2 of development. We have always, we have always asked the president, according to law, find the best way of law to address the issue of Southeast, both the issue of the IPOP, the issue of everybody, to address this within the context of law of Nigeria, so that possibly, very quickly, Nnamdi Kanu will be released from prisons, and we will continue to live a better life and produce everything. Let me be honest with you. Nigerians are suffering because of the problem we're having in the Southeast. The Southeast can produce everything you buy in China. We can make them in Abane, we are not in China. Everything you buy from China. Just give us electricity, give us the way that we did, and give us the direction. We produce everything that you produce in China. The technologies are there, everything, we have it, but we need a better atmosphere. We need to clean away properly in agreement the state at home, which has cost hundreds of billions of naira out of the Southeast. We need to bring back the I can do it spirit. We need to sing back aging by aging. We need to go back to what we know how to do. When I was governor, a lot of things were being manufactured in Aba. People have begged Aba people to stop putting made in Paris, made in Spain, made in Brazil. They should start putting made in Aba. We can supply every equipment this country needs from that region of the country. I'm not, President Tinubu himself knows this, because I can tell you twice he slept in Abia when we were governors, he slept in Ibere, and he saw it himself, and he respects that. I'm sure once we have good atmosphere, the president will come back to do the needful in our zone. And I'm praying that both the lawyers of Nnamdi Kalu and the courts, they should speed up and make sure that it's released according to law of Nigeria. Because I'm sure the president Tinubu will always live to respect the judiciary. People are calling him to intervene. Yes, he will intervene, but through the judiciary. The judiciary have to do their job, and President Tinubu will intervene. So I believe that as soon as possible and practicable, that Nnamdi Kalu will be released and the area will be very quiet.
All right, very quickly, sir, before we let you go, just two quick questions. First will be, what role do you think that your Ohanaeze Ndigbo can play in the sort of renaissance for the Igbo nation, for the Southeast development that you spoke about? You used Eyin by Eyin just now. So Senator Azuta Mbata has just been appointed, as you're aware, as the President General of Ohanaeze. What role do you think that they're able to play, in this renaissance? And then secondly, I would like you to reflect, a bit on the class of 1999 to 2007 governors, of course, which you came out from. I believe that at that time, you were probably the youngest in that class. But interestingly, that class has now produced a sitting president. That class has produced a secretary to the government of the Federation. You are a member of that class and you are in the Senate. So you can conveniently say that you are the ruling class in the last 25 years of Nigeria's political history. Do you think that you guys have done well? What areas do you think that you can use to show example to Nigerians that you mean well for their welfare?
Well, let me start from Ohanaeze and Senator Azuta Mbata have just been made president of Ohanaeze, and I congratulate him sincerely. I was in Ibere the day it was on, and I made a call to him, congratulating him for being elected. I'm sure having his exposure, he's a businessman like me, and he's well exposed. He was a senator in the Nigerian Senate, and he is not a very local person, so he's a cosmopolitan person. I'm sure he's going to drive Ohanaeze out of politics and drive them to social cultural activities and negotiation for the Igbos instead of playing politics. And I know in Senator Mbata very well. He will keep away from politics with his leadership to be able to package Ohanaeze what we should be, have direct discussion with people. And I believe also that our zone, as you said, will benefit a lot from the new leadership of Ohanaeze, because almost all the governors, from the progressive governors, Chairman Hope Uzodinma, to my own governor, Alex Uti, to Peter Mba, to Mufere of Ebonyi State, and to Soludo of Anambra State, all of them are all totally endorse him. So his leadership is not in question, and I'm sure he's going to do a lot of job for not only Igbo nation, for stability of Nigeria. And you asked me about our state. Yes. Our set of governors, we have not totally been in leadership. This is the first time we are taking the helm of affairs. And you can see the reforms that are coming by President Ahmed Tinubu. We are very lucky. We produced the first president, President Yaradua. And we're also producing President Tinubu and the Secretary to Government. We are two senior senators in the National Assembly, myself and Senator Adamu Alero. He was also in that class. So our class have done very well because we are sincere to what we can do for Nigeria. We are very, very sincere for what we can offer to Nigerian people, but opportunities just coming at a very difficult time. And this is why we're advising our classmates to make sure that they do thorough reform that will bring economic prosperity to Nigerian people. The way the prosperity is in my heart, yes. I wish that President Tinubu will listen to every script we want him to follow. and we will change Nigeria in the next 4 years. Because
All right.
President Tinubu is very bold, and they have the boldness to do it. And once you have the boldness, you'll be able to implement it. The problem is that the Nigerian presidents have been afraid of going a way in and way out. So I think that once President Tinubu continues his courage and saying we must do it, as long as it's for Nigerians, we will support him, and Nigerian people will support him.
All right, distinguished Senator.
Right.
All right. Thank you so much, distinguished Senator Orji Uzor Kalu. We want to thank you for joining us on the morning show today. Thanks for the insight and everything.